Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Fans of the Framework. Today's topic is Generation Z. How will we train them? How will we lead them? How will they disrupt or not disrupt our workplace, right? So just when we thought we were over the whole millennial thing, and now here comes another one, right? It's like we're all waiting as leaders for a tsunami to hit. And, it is going to be a tsunami. You know why? It's going to be the largest generation of workers in our country, bigger than the millennials, bigger than the boomers even, and the largest generation. Generation Z ranges from 1996 to born between the years of 1996 to 2010. And there's some thought even with the newest people researching Generation Z that potentially they'll make it even bigger. So, because hello, we've gone through all the letters, right? Generation Z is the last one. So what do we call it after this? So they're calling this the last generation. Who knows if they'll give it a catchy name like Millennials, but they're calling it the last generation. So what's happening with how we led the millennials, and to me, based on my personal observation and based on everything that I read about it, and we do have a chapter on diversity in our book, Managing a Multi-Generational Workforce, is that we made way too much fuss about it. I say to leaders over and over, our organizations are changing. Our employees are changing. We have to change as leaders. How you led 20 years ago, how you led 5 years ago isn't going to work for how you lead into the future. So who's the best teacher? Not a podcast, not even me, right? Not, a blog or whatever, but the very people that you're leading to say, how can I be the very best leader for you? How, ask your newest hires, how did the hiring process go? How would you like to be hired and recruited in the future? What do you wish that we had done differently? I always tell people, you're not going to be able to stand at a job fair and hope that your very best employee comes strolling by you as if, tuna in a net or something. So the key is we need to change. We need to look at things differently. So, I want to give you some clues about how Generation Z is going to view the workplace, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised about a couple of them. Something else I did is I divided this talk into two. I've gotten some great feedback from you that you prefer the shorter Facebook Lives rather than the longer Facebook Lives, and so thank you for that feedback. And I'm gonna keep them each to 15 minutes. And there's a lot to talk about with Generation Z. So let's roll. And join me next Friday as well. So 90% of a solution to a problem is knowing that it's coming, right? You can prepare for it, and you can prepare yourself well for it. How will you lead Generation Z differently than you led the millennials? Did you change the way you led it all for the millennials to begin with, or did you just go, there she goes again, right? There goes the younger generation again. So let's know that you have things in your leader toolbox that can lead this newest generation of workers extremely effectively, and consider it a challenge that you all are capable of rising to, and actually look forward to it. I'll tell you why. Okay. Now here's the part that hurts. 67% of Generation Z surveyed by Inc. And this young man named Ryan Harvey, who considers himself to be an expert on millennials and Generation Z, said that the Generation Z will prefer a millennial boss. Ouch. That hurts, right? So here's the deal. Your boss is your boss. You get who you get. I mean, if you're fortunate enough to be able to choose your boss and work in a work environment where you have all these choices, then yeah, potentially maybe someone who is of a younger generation will choose someone from a younger generation to be their boss. You know why? Because in our workplaces, we like people to like us, and we like people to be like us. When there's differences from us, from our opinions, then that's where conflict happens, right? Well, conflict can be really, really helpful, and conflict can be really, really healthy. So let's not run with this. All Generation Z will prefer a millennial boss, because I think when you, as a Generation Xer or a baby boomer and a leader, or even a millennial, it's all about the work culture, right? And that's going to be my last point today. It's all about creating this great workplace. I can hardly believe that if you interviewed a Generation Z and told them about your employee-driven teams, about your common work practices of rounding, and how you've really developed being able to listen very transparently to what your employees have to say to you, and how you have, team celebrations and team socialization, all made to prevent burnout, they're gonna be like, dude, I want to work for you, right? I want to work for you. Then you got to follow through on it. Because the second thing that generation is telling us is work-life balance is their number one priority. After 2, so let's call it a number 3 priority. And 63% of Generation Z surveyed said that how they would deal with burnout, or the beginnings of burnout, or working for a department that didn't have work-life balance as a priority, is they would leave. Okay, so we already know that our youngest generation is not going to stay with us for 25 years. How will you re-recruit them? You guys have heard me say this over and over and over again: work-life balance, and role modeling it as a leader, expecting it from others, care of self first, care of team second. The patients and their families will just automatically happen from taking care of yourself and coming to work every day. And so when you set that expectation with your newest people, simply set the expectation that I know that work-life balance is important. It's important to me. I know it's important to you. I want to make sure that you know that it's important to everybody who works here. So what is your plan to care for yourself? AONL, the National Academy of Medicine, and IHI are all saying that, work-life balance, self-care, caring for one's resiliency needs to be on a competency skills checklist, the same as, can you put in a chest tube? Can you start an IV? Can you snap an x-ray? Okay? You have to be able to care for yourself and have a plan for it. So again, when you explain to this, your newest generation of workers, that this is your expectation, that you care for yourself in this way, you have a plan, that sometimes when you feel stressed out, or this is how you deal with it, maybe we need to go back to that being a behavioral based interview question, having something on resiliency, having a plan. It's part of their annual evaluation, it's part of their mid-year performance conversation, and it's part of their competency skills and orientation checklist, that they have a plan that they will carry out for their own personal work-life balance. Okay, it's part of your orientation plan. We got that. Check, right? You don't want them to leave as soon as they start to feel a little bit burnout. You want them to have a plan to combat that, proactively. This is what I love about Generation Z. This is the very best part. This is your newest team that was born with a cell phone in their hand. That is our first generation of full technology, right? Full on technology, that, they don't know anything. They're older than, well, actually Google is older than them. They're younger than Google. OMG, right? Born with Google. So how is that going to work for us? What the heck are we going to do, and how are we going to lead that? Guess what they want? They want a combination of high tech and high touch. What the newest generation is telling us is that they're fully digital. However, their top 2 priorities in the workplace: number 1, a supportive leader; number 2, positive relationships with their coworkers. A supportive leader, we're going to talk about that next week, how you show support to these newest generations, and positive relationships between their coworkers. Onboarding, socialization, socialization, socialization. You know, we talk all the time about the key ways that you recruit, that you hire, and that then you onboard. And then a lot of times leaders struggle with that onboarding, and that they think how you onboard somebody is to get them through their competency skills checklist within a 12-week orientation or less. And really how you onboard is, where does this person fit on my team? Where do they think they fit on my team? How will I socialize them to this new work family, right? How will I show hospitality, the warm and generous reception of friends and family? How will I get my team to show hospitality, the warm and generous reception of friends and family? That's what hospitality means. So it sure is more than the checklist on, can they start an IV? Can they balance a spreadsheet? Can they snap an x-ray? Can they draw blood? It sure is more than that. We have to do that plus more, and be this warm and welcoming family, right? So next week, we'll talk more about Generation Z and how you can support them, how you recruit them to your workplace, first of all, and then how you support them. So I look forward to talking to you about that next Friday. The call to action for you, there are still our Capstone Leadership Summit seats available in beautiful Eaton Rapids. Hello, Heather, who's from Eaton Rapids, joining us. Eaton Rapids is a town where Eaton Rapids Medical Center is located, and it's also located right outside our state capital in the fine state of Michigan. So that summit, it runs between October 8th and 10th, just a couple short weeks away. I've got Karen Stockton joining me. Karen is a leader with the Dignity Health system out in Arizona. She hails from Chandler Regional Medical Center. She is truly a leader who walks the talk in leadership. And she, every time I've ever taught with her, she slays me, she kicks my butt, and she gets a job offer everywhere she goes. It's kind of crazy, actually. So everybody always wants to work with Karen. At the end of it, I want to come and work for you in Arizona. So please do join us. Go to our website at www.capstoneleadership.net. And welcome to all the new leaders who joined us this week. We know that you joined us in NOLA, New Orleans, Louisiana, and for the OR Manager Conference, and then join Fans of the Framework after you heard us there. So good for you guys, and I hope you'll find this Fans of the Framework and our 2 live videos a week to be just tiny bites of leadership training right when you need it. Thanks, guys. See you next Friday.